League and all sorts of stuff happening in the world of sports. Well, I'm not going to tell you too much about it, but fresh from Rwanda, we have Sembe Shima to tell us all what's going on. Welcome. How was it in Kigali? I saw you there. You were looking pretty, lively.
Am I not looking pretty now?
Well, not as pretty as you were looking there.
Oh, I see. Different weather, I guess. But yeah, Rwanda was good, and it was even better that the Super Eagles won that match that was expected for them to win, to further boost their chances. So it was a great one, yeah, I must say.
All right, carry it, go.
All right. Good morning and welcome to Kakaki Sports. Well, the international break is still upon us, and so much is going on in terms of continental football. For us here in Nigeria and in AIT, we're going to be focusing on the Super Eagles of Nigeria's game, precisely as the World Cup ticket is at stake. Well, joining me this morning to discuss on Nigeria's Super Eagles and their performance in the World Cup qualifiers is AyoT Ogala, popularly known as AyoT of Eagles Trackers, joining me all the way from Canada. AyoT, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Brenda.
Good
Thanks
morning
for having
and welcome to Kakaki Sport, a debutant on the show.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate you.
All right, quickly, it's been quite an interesting one, I must say, interesting weekend, and now we're getting into a new week. Nigeria's Super Eagles, the most talked about match was played, and Nigeria's Super Eagles triumph, 2-0 victory there in Rwanda. Let's start with the goals, first of all. Your thoughts on their performance and the goals that were scored in that encounter?
It was a must-win game for us, as we all know, and they put in a very good performance. I was particularly impressed with the coach, Eric Shell. He showed that he has new ideas, new tactics, and the players as well, able to adapt to those new instructions with only 3 days of training. I thought it was very important. The goals, beautiful goal by Victor Osimhen for the first one. Ademola Lookman with a beautiful cross. And Osimhen finished, the way we usually expect him to finish. And then the tenacity, the effort, and then the clinical finish for the second goal. I thought it was very good. And, 2 goals in the first half set us off on a very beautiful path. And they were able to cruise in the second half to secure that very important victory for us.
All right, so now let's talking about the goals. We're going to see, a bit of that as we talk. But let's talking about the goal. Victor Osimhen right now has surpassed, record when it comes to goals for Super Eagles. In fact, he's on his way to becoming one of the highest goal scorer in the team, or with the national team, as many as predicted. Your thoughts on this particular player? Do you think with what he has done, surpassing, I think, Adegbemi's record of 23, he's moved to 25. Now he's following the great Rashidi Yekini back-to-back. Do you think he has, he's going to do that? He's going to surpass the 37-goal mark
honestly,
before he retires?
Honestly, Victor Osimhen is a player that I hold in such a high regard. I look at him as one of, if not the best striker in the world right now. And without any doubt in my mind, I know that Victor Osimhen will surpass the great Rashidi Yekini's record. I mean, it's a record that has stood for a long time, but with the kind of quality that Victor Osimhen has, every game that he plays for Nigeria, we can almost just beat our chest in confidence and say he's going to score. And I mean, in modern times, with all fairness, there's a lot more games that are being played now than they were being played before. So I have no doubt. As long as he stays fit, knock on wood, Victor Osimhen will eventually break that record.
Okay, fingers crossed there. I mean, he's still young. He's just 26 years of age. That is the record right there. He's earned 25 goals so far for Nigeria's Super Eagles. And Rashidi Yekini, the great, 37 goals, the highest goal scorer of all time for the Super Eagles. He just surpassed Segun Adegbemi's goal by 2 goals that he scored in Rwanda. That's on Friday. Now we're looking at Victor Osimhen going all the way to become the highest goal scorer in the Super Eagles. But like I said, fingers crossed till that happens. But now let's move away to the Super Eagles as a whole. The standing on the log now doesn't really tell well of a great and very talented, star-studded team as the Super Eagles. Despite the win against Rwanda, they're still in 4th place right there with 6 points from 5 games. Going into match day 6 tomorrow. AyoT, basically, how optimistic are you about Nigeria picking a ticket to the 2026 World Cup with the games left to be played?
I'm very optimistic. We had to win our game versus Rwanda. We did. We now have to win our game on Tuesday. Hopefully we do. As long as we can continue in the same direction, we have a very good chance. The key game, I think, is going to be when we face South Africa. in the second match of our meeting in this group. If we're able to beat South Africa, yes, we have to count on one of the other teams in the group to get some points off of them. But I remain very optimistic. It's the largest World Cup ever. And for me, it would be a big shame for a team like the Super Eagles not to qualify. Also, when you look at this pool of talented players that we have, like you rightly mentioned, if they're not able to qualify, it will be a knock for many of them because they might not have another chance to go to the World Cup. So with the new coach, the new system, and I've spoken to some players, I know how dedicated and energized that they are. I strongly believe that our chances, Nigerians should be optimistic. We have a very good chance of qualifying still.
Okay, so we should not start carrying calculators right now yet.
Not
It's too
yet,
early
not
to
yet.
start carrying calculators. But now let's not talking about the game now. The game upon us is against Zimbabwe. I would like to dwell more on this. Benin Republic is also going to play Benin Republic. Gennard Roy is there, who knows the team in and out, and is sitting right there on in second place with 8 points. He's not going to give that one easy when it comes to Nigeria. He beat Nigeria in the first leg 2-1. I don't think he's going to give that one out easy. But like you said, optimism is what we're going to have Nigerians have this time around and not calculate yet. It's just match day 6. But now the next game is Zimbabwe. And head-to-head, Zimbabwe has never beaten Nigeria. The last time they beat Nigeria was in 1981 when they in a friendly game. But they've never beaten Nigeria. 7 times of meeting, Nigeria has won about 4 times and drew 3 times. Do you think tomorrow's game is going to make another 5 out of 8 meetings for Nigeria against Zimbabwe? With their
Yes,
current
I
stats.
said, with the direction that the coach is taking the team in, with the energy that the players are bringing into camp, we've seen the seriousness. Everybody's focused on the task. I strongly believe that we'll get another win against Zimbabwe. It's not going to be easy, so we can't get carried away and say we're going to knock them out the park because Zimbabwe are also a good team. They have a good coach. They are very organized and structured. We saw their comeback in their game against Benin Republic last week as well. But I believe that we just have more than enough quality to go over the line. I'm seeing something like a 3-0 victory for the Super Eagles. Not easy, but I think that we're going to win that one fairly comfortably as well.
Eric Chell, how do you expect him to play this one? He played a 4-4-2 formation against Rwanda, and then we saw the combination of Victor Osimhen up front with Ademola Lookman. For you, how do you expect him to tackle this one, knowing fully well that this is also another must-win match for Nigeria Super Eagles if they must pick that World Cup ticket or be comfortable of going, picking that World Cup ticket next match day?
One thing with Eric Shell is for that first game, he surprised us, a little bit with the setup and the tactics that he used in that game. So honestly, if I come and tell you I know exactly what he's going to do for the second game, I'll be lying. But just based on the first game versus Rwanda, I think he's going to go with a similar 4-4-2 with the 2 players that are supposed to be wide, playing more inside, play more centrally. And I think that he's going to try to, win the game through the midfield again. The press from Osimhen is going to be very important. The creativity of players like Lookman and Simon will be very important. But, the coach has shown me that he's a man with ideas. He's a man that is willing to take risks. And there is no room for conservative football. When you need to win every game, you need to go full force in every match. And that's what I expect to see tomorrow against Zimbabwe.
All right, indeed. We're all expecting a victory for Nigeria against Zimbabwe tomorrow at the Gosia Akpabio Stadium right there in Akwa Ibom State. But Ayo, quickly, I know you predicted, but let's be realistic. Who are going to be scoring those 3 goals that you have predicted? I know Victor Osimhen is on your list, but tell us who do you think is going to be scoring those 3 goals for you against Zimbabwe tomorrow? And how many again? You said 3-0. I heard you right.
Yes, I said 3-0. I have to give 1 or maybe even 2 to Victor Osimhen just because he's somebody that I always expect and he always delivers. But I see, potentially maybe a penalty scored by William Troost-Ekong. So the 3rd goal is up in the air. Anybody that wants to get a goal can get a goal. Maybe somebody off the bench. But I see potentially Victor Osimhen and William Troost-Ekong getting on the score sheets.
All right, indeed. We'll keep our fingers crossed. And if that happens, I'll be the first person to call you. Ayo, definitely showing to be predicting our games moving forward. But thank you so much for waking up so early to join us this morning on Kakaki Sports. We do appreciate your time.
No, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, and good luck to you and the rest of Nigerians watching.
Thank you.
Oh, well, that was AyoT of Eagles Tracker. They know him as AyoT, but Ayotunde Ogala of Eagles Tracker on social media, on Instagram, a sports analyst and a pundit as well. But now moving away from the Super Eagles, matches we also played in the local league here in Nigeria, talking about match day 30 for the NPFL. The title contention is getting more intense. And Remo Stars, despite 1 game at hand, are still looking like the team to win the trophy this time around. Let's take a look at the results from that encounter. These are the results from match day 30 so far. Nassau United and Rangers International, of course.